Cyber Uncut. Discover the changing face of business, government and national security as Australia navigates the cyber revolution.
Well, g'day everyone, it's Liam Garman here and Dan Croft, the team from Cyber Daily, and it's been a long time since I've had a chance to speak to our amazing podcast listeners. For those of you who join us quite frequently, you know I do a lot of our deep dives with a lot of Australia's leading tech providers and managed services providers, and also work with Dan on the CISO Brief, which helps business leaders unpack what they need to know in the world of cybersecurity. But our deputy editor, David Hollingworth, is actually overseas at the moment in Canada, learning from some of our international partners about all the amazing things that they're up to keep their clients safe in the world of physical infrastructure. So it's Dan and I today unpacking the world of cyber, and we're going to be starting off with something that's quite topical. Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Yeah, romance scams.
Romance scams are still a thing.
Yeah, and it's something that it happens, all throughout the year. This isn't just a Valentine's Day thing, but of course you see a spike. You get
it ramps up.
Yeah, people go, Valentine's Day's coming up. I'm going to hop on Tinder. I'm going to hop on Hinge or whatever, and I'm going to see who, might be interested to meet up on Valentine's Day.
But not all as it seems.
No, scammers are also knowing that you're doing that, so they get prepared. So the Joint Policing Cybercrime Coordination Centre has released a kind of guide to spotting these scams so that you can identify them before you take hold. Otherwise you're handing over your heart and your wallet.
Yeah, just one at a time, please.
Yeah, exactly. So the romance scams are a big deal. In 2025, they were the third most reported type of scam. 3,432 incidents reported to ScamWatch, and a $28 million loss. Most of those scams were reported following online contact.
Wow.
Very, very big deal.
So how does it now, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this might seem not heartless, maybe misguided. I think it's pretty fair to say that we've all seen all the Netflix shorts. those Netflix documentaries where they come down, they start and they sit down on the chair and they start talking to the camera, and it's like, I was fleeced out of, $800,000 because I thought I was talking to Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like and sometimes, and this is where a lot of people in cybersecurity, they've got like a pretty good BS filter. You can see when something's been edited. And oftentimes on these, Netflix shows, and they show the photo of Ryan Gosling that's very clearly AI edited.
Yeah.
And then there's the photo of him in like the hospital bed when he's asking for money after a ski accident.
Yeah.
How are they still going about it? Is it the same? They social engineer them for a long period of time?
Yes, but you bring up a great point about AI. Now, this has given them another weapon in their toolkit to convince you more that they're legitimate. So, AI has gotten quite convincing. Deepfakes are running rampant in all sorts of cybercrime and causing issues in other areas and everything like that. So creating a realistic deepfake of someone, a real person or not a real person, to convince you that you're talking to a real person, that's become quite simple and will become part of the toolbook, where previously they either would be no images or they've gotten images of someone else's account, which is a lot easier to verify with reverse image search and things like that. So the standardized romance scam kind of follows as such. So you receive an unsolicited message from a stranger, might appear legitimate, might not. Obviously, if it doesn't, all good, ignore. This person will then show interest in you, try to gain, your interest back. They'll say they have similar kind of interests, might even have the same name as your pet, or same pet name as your pet. That's the example they gave. They then try and move the conversation elsewhere. So the thing is, if you're talking on, the platform you've met on, Tinder or whatever it is, it's a lot easier to report these things and a lot easier to get help and flag these things. While if you then move it to text, while you might go, hey, things are progressing where, I've gotten their number, it may more likely be that they're just trying to get you somewhere where you're a lot more vulnerable. You've already placed a lot more trust in them, and you've got nowhere to report it immediately like you could on Tinder. And they'll use things like going, do you want my number? Or I don't use this app much, which is something like, I used to use Tinder. That was something that I
feel like everyone used that line.
Yeah, I got that line a lot when I was on Tinder. And they could have all been scammers. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like that line is... People use that line even if they weren't scammers to say like, hey, I'm actually looking for something a bit more romantic. I'm not just going to be messaging people on here every night. And it actually kind of does hook people in because it's like, I'm actually looking for something serious.
I think people also try to protect themselves and go, I don't use Tinder all the time. Don't stress. I just don't check this app much. So if
you're paying for gold.
Yeah. They're like, counting coins so that they can pay for their membership. So at this stage, the scammer then goes, all right, let's develop more of a relationship. And this isn't a one-time hit. So they bring your walls down and like you said, oh, I'm in hospital. I need some money. Oh, I need some money for this. And it becomes this constant revenue stream for them where they keep you on the hook as long as they can, get as much money out of you as they can over a longer period of time. Then you finally click, the tab has gone up to, thousands of dollars or whatever it is, and they flee. And it's a pretty convincing social engineering scam. It's hitting people where they hurt, especially around Valentine's Day. So there are some pretty simple things you can do to verify whether you're talking to a scammer.
Okay, hit me.
First thing, and this is before even verification, don't send any money until you're 100% certain that the person is real. And even then, even if the person is real, they might not be a scammer typically, but they might still be after you for your money.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, even if you're, this is where, second, third, fourth order, right?
Yeah.
They could still be scammers, just in-person scammers.
Yeah.
Like they're swindlers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's probably a better term, like charlatans.
Yeah.
Just trying to be like, oh, you can pay for my drinks when we go out every time. I'm just using you as a way to, get free drinks, or I'm using you as a way to do this. But in this context, it's more, if you haven't met them, you don't know that it's the person in the image that you're talking to.
Yeah.
Don't send them any money. Yeah. Because, they might get annoyed and you might not end up with, this lovely romantic relationship. You're risking that. But if they're asking for money first, it's probably not going to be great anyway.
Seems pretty basic, Dan. Does our amazing government provide us with any more?
Yes, they do.
Okay, good. Thank goodness.
They do. That was just kind of the above all else. Yeah, above all else. Yeah. Verify identities. Now, I actually was shocked to see the techniques that they mentioned in this release, but it was check social medias.
Yep.
Which is a really, really good example. So, you've got their first name. If they're in your area, which they likely are if you're using a dating platform, look up that name. Try find their account. Verify legitimacy. If it's an account that was made 2 weeks ago, has 3 photos and 7 friends, it's unlikely to be real.
Yeah.
But if this account has existed for 7 or 8 years or even a couple years and there's genuine looking interactions, all right, that's a green flag. That's good. Reverse image search. That is a really, really easy thing to do. You can do it through Google Lens. A lot of phones have the ability to do it on their own. Do it. Absolutely. See if you can find, okay, there's the image of this person, a reversed image search, and it's come up with someone with a completely different name overseas. Not great. Use the dating platform you're using as long as possible. So don't let them pressure you into going off into texting or Instagram or anything like that.
Interesting, yeah.
Now, as much as that might be like, but it's great to progress these things and, discuss off the platform. It feels more exclusive and you can start organizing your date and things like that. You do lose that security of still being, on that platform. And it makes it harder for them to break those walls down and pull trust out of you.
Well, you can see how, taking it off the platform is a very easy way to protect the scam syndicate, I guess, which is you match with someone, you're talking to them via Tinder, hey, let's move on to WhatsApp, text, and then you move on and they say, hey, I'm deleting Tinder, Tinder's gone. So it kind of justifies that, okay, I can no longer see their account. That makes sense because they've deleted it. I'm going to delete it too. While they're committing this on the other side, but now you've lost your ability to flag that account.
And that's a really good point. I'm deleting my account is like the ultimate way if you're very interested in this.
Exclusivity.
Of this person. Yeah, it's the ultimate way to go. If I want to keep talking to this person, I have to move elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you really like the person or hopefully not scammer on the other side, push to stay on the platform as long as possible. Ask for in-person meetings or video calls. So if there is a situation where they want a little bit of money, meet up with them first.
Yep.
Or a video call is a good second best thing. Now, still got to be careful here because AI rears its head
100%.
So you're going to get AI-generated video calls. So look out for visual and audio glitches, any classic signs of AI generation like extra fingers or little like anomalies, and a low-quality video. Now, the thing about a low-quality video is that it hides a lot of things. So if you've purposely got bad footage on this video call, that could hide a lot of these anomalies. So just keep it in mind the entire time. Now, I mean, go ahead, do the video call. But, you know, don't take it as evidence unless you can be absolutely sure.
On that note, you know, the AI filters, you've seen it 1,000 times where people can just make fake images of themselves. And like they're talking into the camera. And obviously all of our listeners already know that you can do this. But you're talking into the camera and you are now making quite convincing videos. And even from a voice perspective, and, you know, you and I have been doing this podcast for years, but even probably when we were doing Cyber Uncut 2 years ago, that's when the voice changes came in, and you and I were playing around with it in the office, and you would say 3 or 4 words and then you could completely change the way that someone speaks.
Yeah.
It's not foolproof.
No, it's not. It's gotten a lot better. And the thing is, that's one of those kind of examples.
Well, I mean, their government recommendations aren't foolproof.
Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not. This is more, this is the best things you can do.
Yeah.
And that's why I started with the don't send any money thing, because that is the absolute best thing you can do, because, you know, it's complete abstinence. So there's no chance of anyone getting a hold of your cash. But on the voice changer thing, that is another example of lowering this barrier for entry in a number of different cybercrimes, but scams especially. A lot of scams are done over the phone. And if you've got someone who is not an English speaker or has a strong accent that you wouldn't expect to hear from someone, you know, saying they're from a phone company or a romantic interest or something like that, all of a sudden they've got the ability to cover that up.
Absolutely. And this does tap into the changing world of social engineering, which you and I have spoken about ad nauseum. Even looking at it from a business perspective, gone are the days where your phishing emails have spelling errors.
Yeah.
So often in so many company training guides, we default to what was 4 or 5 years ago, which is look out for the spelling error, look out for the domain that doesn't exist. If they're sending it from Gmail, but they're saying they're your boss.
Yeah.
Incorrect email signatures. That doesn't really, if you've got a scammer, they don't even have to be particularly good.
No.
You know, all you have to do is take someone, and okay, journalism is a great example where, you know, you would have so much written stuff online. I've got so much written stuff online. We send out emails to our database all the time.
Yeah.
It's actually very easy for people to copy and paste and say, in the style of Liam Garman, write X, Y, Z.
Yeah. And then all they got to do is, if they've got an example of your email, and they are doing it via an email, there you go. You've got the email signature. Oh, that adds legitimacy. You know, you can base things off, like you said, our writing, and you've got a very, very convincing email. And to make the actual email address convincing,
you can spoof it.
Yeah. Or on an even less sophisticated level, using different ASCII characters. So instead of an A, you might have an A with an umlaut above. And it's one of those things where when everything's got an underline and it's blue and everything, it's very, very easy to miss.
You've got the, there was a few good ones going around recently, which is the R and the N next to each other, which looks like an M when you've elided it.
Yep.
The Russian A character.
Yep.
It looks just like a lowercase a.
Yeah.
And so you can get around that as well. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it is. And I remember when I first saw the example of that Russian A one, I actually didn't notice what was wrong. It even said, spot what's wrong with this picture. And I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, that took me a good 5 or 6 minutes.
Me too,
looking at it, being like, what's wrong with it? I think we must have seen the same meme, but it was like, and then it was just maybe, I think it was just like at the bottom of the A, there was like a little curvature or something, like something really tiny. And you're, oh, that looks a bit weird.
Oh, that's different. That's different to the other.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. And it's one of those things where we were prompted to look for something and it took us 5-6 minutes. If you're just scanning over,
you would not.
You just never pick it. And I'm willing to admit, before knowing about that, would I have been convinced by that? Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. So it's just keeping an eye on all of these things.
Yeah.
And, with Valentine's Day coming up, expect that increase in scams.
So are romance scams still increasing?
I actually couldn't find a number.
Okay.
I was trying to find a statistic on what they were last year compared to the year before, and I actually couldn't find a number. But according to that release, they are increasing.
I was hoping that after enough knowledge out there, I mean, all it takes is to watch Today Tonight. It seems like it's at least once a week they've got a new romance scam, or Netflix, and you've got, what was the mum that catfished her daughter? Do you remember? Did you watch
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of those.
Oh my gosh.
My partner does.
It was a mother who was cyberbullying her daughter.
Oh no, my partner did watch that one.
Yeah.
I know bits of it. I think I was working. She was working from I was not working from home. She had a day off.
Yeah.
And I'd like occasionally walk into the kitchen to get a water or something, and I'd see bits of it.
It was wild. It was wild. But there are some pretty bad actors out there. Now I know on this podcast you and David like to dive pretty regularly into the world of politics.
Yes.
And this is something that you and I disagree on quite a lot. But with the social media ban, talking about romance scams, with the social media ban for under 16s, are we still seeing a proliferation of teenagers potentially finding themselves in compromising situations with suboptimal, bad, evil, I don't know which word to use, communications in this front? Has the social media ban, in your opinion, been effective? We're a couple months in.
I
mean, we're seeing a lot more kids on e-bikes going across the Harbour Bridge. So clearly they're going outside more.
Look, I think that in the months that the ban has been in place, there's actually been quite a lot of proof of the good that it's doing. So you look at Grok, for example, and all the CSAM material that was showing up on X. Not having kids on social media, that is a really, really good example of why they shouldn't be. I still have my issues with it in terms of, stunting education and, human connection, social connections and things like that. But there is undeniably good sides to it. And I think in the context of romance scams, everyone's been a teenager with a crush. And, if someone finds that information out, literally your mate goes, oh, so-and-so has a thing for so-and-so online. And a scammer sees that, finds that person, contacts you with another account of that person. And it happens all the time. I've got friends who have dummy accounts that scammers have made of them on Instagram. I remember being, again, back in the day when I was on Tinder, there was a girl from my school that I spotted on it, but there was a different name there. And I hadn't messaged her in years. I said, hey, by the way, someone's trying to imitate you on Tinder. And she goes, thank you very much. Please report it. And so it is a very, very easy thing. And when you're a kid and you don't have the understanding of those threats, you can absolutely be looped in. On the other hand, though, by having that online presence early, I feel like there is a better chance of education around those issues so that when you become an adult, you can have a more rounded understanding of how these threats are going to target you. Because that kind of stuff isn't taught in schools, that anti-scam stuff. And I get it. There's a lot of things that should be taught in schools. You can't fit it all. But I think it would be
So the modern curriculum doesn't really go into it. Surely they've got some element of, and it also depends on how forthright educators are.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of educators do go out talking about not sending compromising photos.
I think stuff like that, yeah.
But this is a different order, right?
This is you think you're getting a message from someone you like at school, which is the example that I would go with. I don't think that kind of stuff is taught. Now, absolutely in classes like PDHPE, you are taught things about, not doing that kind of stuff. You might get taught that kind of stuff in IT subjects as well. But I don't think there's anything that goes into enough detail as to how to spot a scam. But again, it's been a long time since I've been at school. That could have changed, but from my understanding, it hasn't. And I feel like having an online presence young is a good education, provided that there isn't an alternative.
Yeah. I mean, to the magnitude that they teach it, in my opinion, you can always teach it more.
Absolutely.
You can always teach it more because with a lot of the stories that we hear of some absolutely evil acts that have been done shows that there is still a lot more to go, and that young people haven't had the not exposure, but exposure to what the downsides can be.
Yeah.
Right. And they haven't had enough hand holding in that process to say that there are a lot of bad people out there that might be looking to take your money on one hand or worse, but there's always room for more education. And you mentioned Grok before. What are we seeing from Grok at the moment? Because it seems like it's a bit of a basket case, all of X.
Yeah. So I know that EU and French authorities have gone after X. So there's a bunch of countries around the world that have condemned the actions of Grok on X and XAI publishing all of this, child sexual abuse material. X responded by saying we're changing how AI image generation can be done. And the main point was that if you're not a paid user and you're in a jurisdiction where generating images of people in lewd clothing is illegal, then you're not allowed to do it. So they've pretty much just geo-locked where you're able to do it. And the thing about geo-locking is that I don't know how sophisticated their geo-locking is, but a VPN...
Yeah, VPN can get around that pretty easily.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've blanket banned it. It's just they banned it if the country's banned it.
Pretty much.
That's wild.
And they said if you want to edit, because it was from the edit image button that this arose. If you want to edit the image of someone who's in a bikini or underpants or anything like that, you have to be a paid subscriber. But it's like, but what about the images of people who are fully clothed?
Yeah.
If the AI is capable of doing that, then why even make it a thing at all?
Yeah.
It very much is like putting a Band-Aid on an amputee.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't make any sense, and they're really tiptoeing around it for some reason. I mean, if it were me, it'd be like, right, let's do everything we can to cut this off at the source. This is an absolute atrocity. And then originally Elon Musk, I think, said he knew about it. Like he was like, that's horrible. I can't believe that this is happening. But then when he was asked about it later on, I think in a congressional hearing or something, he said, I wasn't aware. So it's been handled pretty badly, but people seem to have kind of dropped it. But a lot of agencies around the world, I think, are looking at doing stuff with X. I think even our e-safety commissioner she's at least condemned it, but I think they are launching an investigation into X. And, e-safety's fought with Musk and X before. So we'll see how it goes.
No, we'll see how it goes, but I think X
more
is...
power to her.
Well, I think Elon's probably richer than the Australian government at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. But on the X note, and I know we were talking about Valentine and we've just gone down a complete rabbit hole. Yeah. And we do have other things we're going to talk about, Telstra, CBA, Roblox, Sausage Watch, whatever that might be. And we'll get there in a second. But just rounding off the X conversation, I did note... it's funny how a lot of the very political accounts seem to get shut down whenever certain dissident countries close their internet. Iran, when Iran shut their internet down after the protests or during the protests, and a bunch of Scottish independence pages went silent, and then it's happened a few times where then a bunch of MAGA accounts go silent because they've shut down internet access. Free speech absolutism might be a bit of a challenge to democracy. Yeah. When you have a borderless internet, I think.
Yeah. I don't even know where to go from there.
Yeah, I know. I've opened up a bit of a can of worms. But no, I've been dwelling on it because obviously there's just been such a move to, people have been astroturfing and making those kind of fake grassroots campaigns for years. Yeah. But it's just become very stark when entire countries shut down their internet and then suddenly entire political movements just seem to lose their steam overnight. Yeah. Maybe I'll leave it there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe I'll leave it there. But onto the real news of the week. In the world of artificial intelligence, Telstra, Accenture, and AI have a data joint venture to cull 209 jobs. What's going on there?
Yeah, so they launched this joint venture last year in January. And the intention of it was to build AI tools, uplifting skill sets, and helping Telstra modernize its AI and data platforms. Now, so at the time, Telstra told its core and data and AI staffers that if you want, you can be moved to the joint venture. We'll use you there. And that over time, the joint venture, it would become more efficient and streamlined, as the roadmap kind of was followed. Now, however, a spokesperson speaking with IT News, spokesperson for the joint venture, has said that there's going to be some workforce changes.
Yeah. Classic,
and, yes, they've said it's going to become more efficient and streamlined, but that might have been them really tiptoeing the idea of if you take this job, you're not going to be here long. So together, they're looking to cull 209 jobs. And hire, I think, about half or less than half of those, or not hire, move those to staffers on their team in India.
Yep.
The joint venture team in India. So
they'll essentially rehire these people overseas, or?
I think there's an established team.
Yeah.
There might be some hires. Yep. But there is an established team that's going to be taking on some of these roles, and some of them are going to be culled completely.
And you know what? From a security point of view, and this is something that you and I have discussed at length, but AI tools make data theft very easy. We've seen some of the risks with Copilot, just being able to seamlessly move across an organization if you don't, say, have a really stringent zero trust model. But this probably opens up a lot of maybe leakages with Australian data overseas.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have the strict training that you might have here on AI usage, you could absolutely have a wealth of business or personal data entered into this AI. Now, I don't know the exact details of the AI they are using, whether it's, just standard ChatGPT, if they've developed their own. I mean, these are two massive companies. It's probably an in-house thing of some kind. But absolutely, it can create, risk, cybersecurity risk. Now, what the joint venture argues is that this would create, as expected, improved cost efficiencies.
Oh, the shareholders.
Yeah, but they also said it'll be an enhanced experience for customers, which never works.
Oh, I don't know. You got to look after that shareholder value, Dan.
Yeah. No, I'm sure they'll be happy.
Yeah.
But customers?
Oh,
I don't know if they're going to have a better experience speaking to an AI that's being now built offshore than a human.
No, that's never gone well.
No.
Also, from a customer experience point of view, and I say this to a lot of small businesses that are listening, there is an element where you have trust in someone when they're real.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of consumers would have a very big aversion to using AI chatbots and AI, call bots.
Yeah.
Agentic agents in that sense. As opposed to a real caller. I think it could be really damaging for a brand.
Yeah. I mean, we saw CBA. They tried to implement it for their customer service team. They said that, it's going to make call volumes lower. It's going to be, so much better for our team. And they had to undo it because the AI wasn't coping.
Really?
Yeah. There were managers on phones being offered overtime to be on these phones because the AI wasn't coping.
Wow.
And they stepped back.
I was so gobsmacked. So gobsmacked. I went onto my internet banking 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
When did we get paid? 2 weeks ago.
Something like that, yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, went onto my internet banking and my password didn't work. And then, I've had this password for years.
Yeah.
Right. Shoot me now. But I knew I typed it in right. And I typed it in right, and I know it was right 3 times. And then I went to reset my password. And I put in everything. I put in all my details and I put a new password in. Password successfully changed. I'm like, okay.
Sweet.
So then I went to re-log in with the new password wrong. I'm like, oh, this is a bit concerning.
Yeah.
This is a bit concerning. And I call up my bank and I call their customer hotline and I said, can't log in. I know for a fact I'm putting in the correct password. Well, it was a PIN.
Yeah.
Just like a 4-digit PIN, right?
Yeah.
So even easier than a password.
Yeah, it's a security code.
4-digit PIN.
Yeah.
And with their the little hotline and in 10 words or less, whatever.
Yeah.
Describe what it is. Password not right, but I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
And they came back and they're like, we regret to inform you that all password changes need to be done on our app. Goodbye. Bang, hang up, dial tone. And I'm like, right.
So the app that I can't get into.
The app that I can't get into that you're logging me out of. But also, I mean, this is a huge, huge risk. It was St. George, by the way. I'm just going to name it. It was St. George.
Yeah.
So I 4-digit PIN, did it 3 times, done. Tried to reset it, successfully reset it, but didn't work. And I'm calling up because as far as I'm concerned, someone's changed my PIN.
Yeah.
And I try and call and you divert me to the app, which is saying it's wrong. That is a really fundamental business liability for banks like this.
Yeah.
Now, I was lucky at the end of the day, nothing was taken. However, if you have a bank, and this is different to say the romance scams before, right? And while my heart does go out to a lot of people that have been hurt in romance scams and have lost a lot of money, at the end of the day, there has to be some kind of culpability to say, well, you did hit go on the transfer.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, I think that there could be mechanisms through which we can tighten it up. We already know about the visa mules where, international students come here, they set it up with foreign passports, foreign driver's licenses, and they just disappear. That's been documented for years.
Yeah.
So they're very hard to track down. I think they can definitely strengthen that.
Yeah.
I think that can definitely be strengthened. But in terms of this being the fault of the bank, if my account without me doing anything, and you and I do this podcast, we're pretty savvy.
Yeah.
We're pretty savvy I've never clicked a link in my life that wasn't right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the phone that I use is actually like a very sanitized phone.
Yeah.
For a lot of the work that I do, this phone is so sanitized. There has been no dodgy browsing for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
Which is, this is the phone where, I do large money transactions.
Yeah.
So I can say hand on heart, I'm quite good. I don't even connect to Wi-Fi networks, So
Yeah.
at this point, I'm very happy to say hand on heart, well, this is the bank's fault if it's been compromised. And the fact that you don't have an ability to address that, we know with the Cybersecurity Act that there is culpability for corporates out there if you are found to be at fault.
Yeah.
If you aren't notifying your customers in a relevant time frame, if you're not notifying the authorities in a relevant time frame, but you can't even speak to the person to address the issue.
Yeah.
And to the offshoring point before, I think that there's going to be a lot of businesses out there that implement cybersecurity very badly. There are going to be a lot of businesses out there that use AI really badly.
Yeah.
And Dan, in my spare time, I also run a random property podcast.
Yep.
And I've seen it 1,000 times in the world of property where people use AI appallingly. There was reports this week of on the cybersecurity angle where apps were sharing shortened URLs with each other, which contained really sensitive information. I've seen advertising in the property space, which is basically copyrighted and people get in trouble, or just outright false advertising, people getting in trouble for that. This is going to be an Australian economy-wide risk if you do this wrong. Now, we got the St. George example of like, that is just abrogating your duty.
Yeah.
But then you've also got businesses out there, a lot of SMEs that are going to be implementing this really badly.
Yeah.
And if you're a director, yes, it can go to a point where you're criminally liable for it.
Absolutely. I mean, look, another great example, and this has been seen in government agencies, there was a government contractor that put all this data regarding, I think it was floods in Queensland, into ChatGPT, I believe it was, or it was Gemini or something like that. And he got called out for it because he was literally putting the data of victims of this horrible, horrible thing into a large language model. That is a data breach. That is just a data breach. And we wrote the story up. In fact, it got featured by New South Wales AMBO's training.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, I had a friend that she's a paramedic, and she sent me a video of my face popped up in the little bubble on the Cyber Daily page on it. But it's a massive thing. And what I've noticed as a trend of late is that Australian leaders are starting to get savvy about, all right, we can't implement AI quickly to sacrifice responsible or
Are
ethical.
they though? Because it seems like people are offshoring jobs for it.
I mean,
are they savvy?
I mean, there is an increase in the number of people that are savvy.
There is,
but doesn't necessarily
there is a tendency to savviness, but not everyone's there.
There was a report I wrote that it was like 70, I think, % of Australian kind of, executives and leaders that were respondents to this survey said that they were prioritizing responsible implementation of AI over fast. Again, it's a survey. It doesn't mean that they'll follow up on what they say.
We also have, what was it? There was a survey from, Cohesity, would have been like 2 years ago, where it was like 60-70% of businesses said they would never pay a ransom, and like 60-70% of businesses paid the ransom.
Yeah. I think David heard the statistic that we cover a lot of ransomware attacks at Cyber Daily that we might see 5 to 10% or maybe 20-30%, like a small fraction, because and to us we're like, oh, we spotted that one, that looks like they may have paid a ransom, that one looks like they may have paid a ransom, but realistically a dramatic portion of businesses seem to pay them, or they end in some other way. I'm not just going to say 70% of Australian businesses do it. That's not what I'm trying to conclude, but there is a massive number of cyber attacks that we just never hear about because the business just goes, all right, here's your money, leave us alone. There's no way for us to see that at Cyber Daily. They're not getting reported to agencies, so they don't even know to look for them until something else down the line might happen. But so absolutely, it's Yeah,
and I do think a lot of business will be at risk. So CBA also recently announced their Australia First AI plan.
Yeah, so
did it learn from its mistakes?
That's what we're here to find out, I suppose, because as I mentioned before, they had quite a botched AI implementation last year. finance sector union was quite annoyed. They were quite angry about it. Absolutely called them out for it.
Finance at the FSU.
Yeah.
I mean, they're no CFMEU, right? Any picket lines?
Who are they?
The CFMEU.
Yeah, what is that?
The construction, forestry, mining, energy,
okay, right.
energy union.
Okay, right, yeah, no.
They're the big heavies that force their way onto work sites
Yeah.
and kick down doors.
I don't know if there was any of that. There was
Vikings,
their
probably.
chairman.
Yeah.
She had some quite passionate words. I'll see if I can find them. Oh, they're on Cyber Daily if you want to read them.
Okay.
But now CBA has said that it is the first bank that has disclosed its intentions for AI implementation and development with a focus on responsible practices.
Ooh.
They are calling this an Australia first approach. And they said, we've heard that stakeholders want to better understand how AI is being used across the bank and our approach to managing the risks associated with its adoption. This report outlines our progress and the safeguards we have in place to support responsible use. This was CBA CEO Matt Common. They've pretty much just said, all right, we're going to do this properly. We're all for the people. We're putting you first above our profitability. We promise. I'll believe it when I see it.
Look, they are obviously a very important part of our economy. But I just support looking after the regular punter. I don't want people to get scammed or lose their jobs at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But on that note, Roblox, what is going on there?
So,
let's start even further. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Let's start even, what is Roblox for people that might not know?
Roblox is a very, for me, strange game. It's a video game.
It's weird, like Minecraft or something. Looks like it.
It's
blocky.
like got that kind of like blocky, voxely kind of graphical style. It's almost like it looks like rip-off Lego, like those like big child Lego blocks. It looks like that. So Roblox has been put on notice by the Albo government for claims of serious child safety risks and exposures to graphic content.
Shit.
Now, this is no secret. I think it was the CEO of, was it Roblox? It might have been Fortnite, but it was one of the two. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. That
the good people of Fortnite.
Yeah. Or Epic Games, I think it is. I don't know. Who said something when they were called out for having child predators on these games because they're full of children. He said, I think he reiterated that we, police and everything, but it's not a bad thing for child predators to be on these games because the kids will learn. Not in that blunt language, but he pretty much alluded to they're exposed to these lessons kind of thing.
Wow, that's really the opposite of what you should have said.
Yeah,
you truly could not have gotten that worse.
No, he couldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything you could have said that would have made that worse.
No.
Like, almost.
So, on the cautiousness that was, I think it was Epic Games, not Roblox. But anyway, games like this do have child predators on them because there is a massive number of children who are speaking to the people on the game rather than their parents who are probably in the other room. They're online. It's very, very easy because you're not showing a face. You can put a voice changer on, as we said, and you can go speak to these kids, develop friendships, and convince. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that.
Aren't there there are heaps of Nazis on there as well, aren't there?
It wouldn't
Have
surprise
you seen
me.
that? Like there's like videos online where people are spreading some pretty interesting ideologies.
It would not surprise me at all. Look, it's a free game, and if you're looking for an online kind of platform for people to talk, that's not just a message board or whatever.
Yeah,
a free platform.
See, you just walk around and talk.
I think people make their own games and levels and stuff in it that you can go play. Like I've seen people make quite amazing spoof copies of real games. Like
in Roblox.
Yeah, where it does, and some of them don't look like Roblox. They look pretty close to the real thing. Like I've seen a version of Counter-Strike on there, except the hand is that big block, but all the guns look the same, the maps all look the same. That's
actually pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
People have gotten very creative, and this isn't me attacking Roblox or anyone there.
Oh, that's a massive endorsement.
Yeah. Like I haven't played Roblox, but I think there is avenues for fun on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 40% of Roblox users though are under 13. 40%. It's a big number.
That's a very high number.
And so in this statement by the government, they've expressed concern over reports child predators are using it to groom kids. So Comms Minister Annika Wells, Communications Minister Annika Wells emphasised the serious and critical nature of addressing these concerns, requesting an urgent meeting with the platform. So she said, the safety of children is non-negotiable. The reports we've been hearing about children being exposed to graphic content on Roblox and predators actively using the platform to groom young people are horrendous. Something must be done now.
Hey, I reckon that's very commendable from the government.
Yeah.
Because and I mean that from the sense of it's far too easy for politicians who are of a certain age generation typically.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got that senator from like South Australia or something that's 21. But then, once you get to that level of, you're a minister of the crown, you've probably never even heard of Roblox, right?
Yeah.
And it has to come across your table. Actually, a huge round of applause, the fact that they saw that there was this issue and they're taking it seriously. I think that's very commendable.
Now, Roblox, from memory, was originally going to be included or was being weighed up to be included in the social media ban.
Yeah.
And that was one of the other issues I had with the social media ban. There were a couple of platforms that really should have been included that weren't. Snapchat was.
I thought originally it was not.
Originally it wasn't.
Yeah. Which definitely like if you're going to ban one, ban the photo that,
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's pretty up there.
The disappearing photo one is probably the first one you should have banned.
4chan is the one that I would have banned.
Is that not?
No.
Is that not?
No. And I suspect it's because it's too hard. I think because they're placing the onus of policing this on these platforms.
Oh, so you have to log in.
Yeah, but 4chan's just going to go, no.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Fine us? We won't pay it.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to make us police this? We're just not going to do it.
Well, I suppose, and that's right. Like your point's probably true that given the onus is on the platform, so you have to, provide identification when you sign up and everything. If you've got something that you don't need to sign into,
that's
then
the other thing.
Like ultimately it's pretty impossible, right?
And that's the thing they were trying to navigate with YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, my issue with YouTube is that they said if you have an account, the algorithm can push you towards things you don't want to see, or that could be bad to see for kids. When I was a kid and I had a YouTube account, I just got Minecraft videos because I would watch Minecraft videos. And the argument that they made was that if you can still use YouTube just without an account because you don't have an algorithm training on your what you watch, which I don't know if that's completely true, but I think it is not as potent or whatever it is. My solution would be to just have YouTube locked in for child accounts, so that if you're an underage person, you just need to have a child account on YouTube, something they do have. But again, how do you police that?
You can't because if you've got a phone, you just go onto YouTube.
Yeah, without an account.
Yeah.
So so it is a tricky one, and it's a similar thing to 4chan there. But yeah, this was originally going to be under the social media ban.
So was there ever, sorry to cut you off again, but was there ever any exploration of banning 4chan?
I don't know. I think it might have been mentioned.
Yeah.
And then when it came out in the end, 4chan wasn't included.
Yeah, probably just too hard. But they did the geo-blocking on it once. The Australian government after the Christchurch massacre blocked anyone in ANZ accessing 4chan. So it can be, well, you can geo-block it, but then I suppose...
You just get a VPN.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, and eSafety has admitted that this is a thing that's hard to police.
Yeah.
They admitted that, it's, you ban drugs and people still do them. So the best they understand that because it's so hard to police, you can ban under 16s from being on social media. They're still going to find their way on. And they just need to make it as policeable as possible in their defense. I'll grant them that. That's not the biggest issue I have with it. But eSafety Commissioner she's also being approached by Minister Wells about Roblox. So to kind of like determine what tools can be used to mitigate the risks on Roblox. So classification board, so the guys that set G, PG, M, MA, that kind of stuff, they've been approached. It was originally a PG game in 2018. That was the rating it was given. And they believe that that may no longer be accurate. So Wells continued and said, these sorts of harms are why we need a digital duty of care, which will place the onus on digital platforms to proactively keep their users, particularly children, safe. Alongside our world-leading social media age ban, there's no ban there, but that's all right, legislating a digital duty of care shows how serious we are about keeping our kids safe and making sure tech platforms, some of the most powerful companies in the world, step up to the plate. We have the strongest online safety laws in the world, but our work is not done. The internet is ever evolving, and so too is our response.
I think that's reasonable as well.
I think it is. I do like that every time they mention the social media minimum age requirement or whatever they call it, they always call it world leading.
They do. They love putting that in.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Well,
you're going
I
to talk
think that, especially in terms of holding the platforms to account. So if you're marketed, Roblox probably the best example of this, right? If you're marketed for children, and you're not safe for children, then there should be penalties.
Yeah.
Right. And that is literally, you've got, I don't know, I've never done Roblox. I've seen it, I've seen it,
I haven't played
Instagram Reels and stuff, whatever. But, it's very clearly childish, very clearly very big, very big. They must be multi-billion-dollar company.
Let's have a look. Roblox player base.
How much money do they make?
Okay, well, it's a free. So they have 380 million active users a month.
It's massive.
That's let's say annual revenue, if they'll even give me that. Let's see what the AI overview says. 4.9 billion.
Yeah, okay.
In 2025.
So you got a $4.9 billion. Well, that's not even a $4.9 billion company. It would be higher than that, but that's just an annual revenue.
And that's a 36% increase over the last year.
Yeah. So that's the annual revenue which this company makes off of primarily getting children users on.
Yeah.
So if you're advertising that and then you're not making it safe for them, yes, I believe, and I think it's very fair to give this opinion, you should face financial penalties if you're not making it safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things where it's like having a working with children certificate. If you have a business that's centered around children, everything about it needs to be tailored for children. 40% of your player base being kids, they might argue it's not a majority. Well, it is your main
100%.
It's the main appeal. It's for kids. Like you look at it, it's designed to look like Lego and Minecraft. It's highly colorful, and the money that they get from it, other than probably advertising, is through buying things with microtransactions. So kids pestering their parents, hey, can I have some Robux, I believe they're called.
Yeah, V-Bucks. V-Bucks is Fortnite?
Yeah, V-Bucks is Fortnite.
V-Bucks is Fortnite.
Yeah, Robux. Yeah. So I can buy this skin or, this sword or whatever it is. That's their model, and they know that's their model. So, make it safe for kids.
Man, it has to be easier.
Yeah.
I'm still a bit of a RuneScape fiend.
Yeah, fair enough.
You can't swear on RuneScape.
No.
Try it.
Yeah,
I've come up with a lot of asterisks. You can't say you cannot communicate on RuneScape. It's actually very hard.
Yeah.
Unless it's selling lobsters 40 GP, right? It's actually that is I'm not telling people to play RuneScape.
Yeah.
I just go on it, level up fishing every now and then. It's a quiet Sunday. You got to do
exactly.
it. Don't want to go outside. My feet hurt. The music's too loud. There are ways, is my point. There are ways that these big behemoth multi-billion-dollar companies can be safe for people to use.
Absolutely. My parents, so they were quite strict with me on using any online platform that had a chat function. I had to convince them so hard to let me have MSN.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they eventually let me, and then I got Facebook because I needed it for Scouts. That was the excuse I used.
Oh, is that the excuse?
Yeah. But the one game they let me play was Club Penguin.
Oh, man, that was bad.
Well, the thing is, there were two chat options, right?
Yeah.
And it came when you set up the account, which, I was like 8 or 9, so my dad helped me set it up. And you can have free conversation where you could write whatever you wanted, or you could only select from certain messages that were pre-typed.
Yeah.
And that's what I was allowed to do.
Yeah.
It also had one of the most strict banning people for swearing that I've ever seen in any game.
Yeah, but remember Club Penguin, it would be everyone from 4chan would go there.
Yes.
And they would meet up in a lobby or a room or something, and then they would all make pictures with all their penguins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There is
I mean,
that.
that was coordinated. That was really bad. That was coordinated.
But that could happen on literally any platform.
Man, it happened on RuneScape. I might have. I was never involved.
Yeah.
I was always focused on the mission. I was a mission-oriented RuneScape.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's happened on RuneScape or Roblox. Roblox it probably has.
Yeah.
But with Club Penguin, so it would flag things very, very quickly. I had accounts banned because, I was an edgy teenager and I'd swear. Yeah. And then it would go, you've been banned for 2 days or whatever
Penguin
it is.
pops up?
Yeah. And I'd be like,
It's
all
what
right,
I've done.
I, I'm just trying to run around and, go on a toboggan down a hill
Yeah.
or something. Just like, leave me alone.
Come man toboggan. Like, what's this world coming to? Liberals banning our freedom of speech. But okay, we're getting off this.
Yeah.
And we're going back onto business. The implications of Bunnings facial recognition.
Yes.
Is this the one that they've implemented?
Yeah, it is. I get why they had it, but they got done originally.
Oh, to be clear, I'm pro facial recognition.
I think facial recognition, when it is appropriately disclosed
Yeah.
to the people in the store, that's okay. I'm not like super anti or for either, but if you're not disclosing it, then I'm against it.
Yeah.
And that was the issue that they were facing. So they were found to have breached the Privacy Act, I believe.
Yeah, because they didn't tell people. They were just kind of doing it behind the scenes.
Yeah. And so, yes, even though they were stopping people who were violent and, thieves and stuff like that, they, breached the Privacy Act. I think it was alleged at the time. I don't remember all the details. I don't want to say anything wrong. Now, however, Bunnings has won its appeal against the 2024 ruling by the Australian Privacy Commission, and they've been given the go-ahead to turn it back on.
Yeah, right.
So...
But I would say, with this, right, to your point about people didn't know that there was facial recognition, look, I'm not a criminology expert, but those, and there's been heaps of studies done on, I'm going to take a little bit of a roundabout here.
Yeah.
Heaps of studies done on like speed cameras.
Yeah.
Now, speed cameras are effective because you have all the signs saying speed camera ahead. So if you've got like a blind corner or like an area where people are particularly dangerous, or not even people, the road is just particularly bad, and you need people to drop their speed, you give them the 200-meter warning, 5 signs that there's a speed camera ahead. Everyone checks down because they don't want to get fined. And as a result, that blind corner or whatever it is, the fatalities drop.
Yeah.
And that's the argument between that, which is, hey, we're going to have this in here for safety, versus the revenue raising argument.
We're going to catch less people and fine less people.
Yeah, and versus, we're going to take all the signs down, so we're going to fine more people, but then the blind corner people doing it at speed, so then they crash and die.
And so, so now they don't have signs for...
In New South Wales, they took them down, didn't they?
Yeah, for mobile speed cameras.
Yeah. Okay.
Only for mobile. In New Zealand, they don't have signs at all for speed cameras.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that if the logic was to make it safer and signposting meant that you got the outcome which made it safe.
Yeah, because people slow down.
Therefore, that's the right thing. So taking that roundabout, if you, and this is playing devil's advocate, if you had facial recognition capabilities in store, but you were doing it not, because if people didn't know that, then people still would come in and hold up. Staff will be abusive, be threatening, try and rob them. Everyone saw all the videos. They were all over the internet, on the news. People wielding knives and stuff.
Yeah, the machete, as you mentioned.
Machetes. If you're doing it to catch them later, you didn't actually keep your staff safe at the time.
Exactly.
So perhaps by being very open, say, hey, guys, like, we are so well surveilled. By the way, if you're a staff member or just a regular punter, you're super safe in this store.
Big sign out the front. Condition of entry, you will be under facial recognition footage.
Yeah.
Or, recorded.
And I don't think it'd be too bad for their business. I still think a lot of Aussies would still visit Bunnings.
Yeah, and then, like with speed cameras, people are going to miss it. They're still going to steal, and then you've got the facial recognition data. You're free to hand it to the cops. Yeah. But like you said, the number of incidents of them being aggressive to staff, the number of incidents of theft. Bunnings has some expensive stuff in there. You go into the Ryobi section, and you if you wanted to buy everything you wanted, you'd spend thousands.
Yeah, well, people just steal off the back of a ute.
Yeah, exactly. That was. I could go on a tangent about why no one steals off the back of utes here, but you go to the UK and they'll just steal everything.
Everyone steals off the back of utes here.
We've got this culture here of.
The high trust society. No.
When it comes to the back of utes, I find
No.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Well, that's because you're a good person. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, again, to add to that, I've never done it, yes.
But I'm sure if you go on, I don't know, whatever your local Facebook group is, the old Croydon Park Belmore community living page.
I'm in that one.
You're in that? I reckon if you go in that, there'd be a fair few. Just scroll down a bit. I reckon if you control F Ute, there'd be a fair few people talking about having their utes robbed.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like I know a lot of musicians who get all their instruments stolen out of their cars all the time.
100%.
And the great thing about a drum kit is that it's a pain in the. I don't even want to move it out of the car. That's why it's still in there. So it's a pain in the ass
It's
to
a good
steal.
deterrent.
It is. Yeah, it's heavy and it's annoying. And the bass drum case, while it protects the drum, will hit you in the ankles, and you'll want to throw it
Screw
across.
you, man.
Throw it off a bridge.
I had one of my neighbours took my Uber Eats last night. Yeah,
That is actually the
that's
worst.
what a dog act.
Yeah, that's
and
terrible.
I don't have cameras, but what a dog act.
Yeah,
So,
that's bad.
The Uber guy, and I went down maybe like a couple minutes after he left. Like actually, because you can read into the type of guy I am. I just watched this app. And I'm like I'm refreshing it.
I do the same.
And then, he's like 20 meters down the road. I go out to meet them. It's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, of
you
course.
walk out on the streets. You don't have to navigate an apartment complex. You go grab your Uber Eats from the street. Makes their life easier. They've got a hard job.
Yeah.
Ain't no one there. And I'm like, man, where are you? Like, da-da-da. Like, where are you? He's like, I dropped it off. I'm like, bro, I've been here for a while. He's like, I dropped it off at your front door. I'm like, well, nothing here. But I saw it on the app.
Yeah.
He was at my place. Like, he was hovering there for a minute or two. Maybe I was a little bit late. And he's like, but I left it at your front door to your apartment building. It was gone.
Yep.
And I believe this guy because I saw him on the app. It was there.
Anyway, I haven't had that, but our apartment complex is annoying where you've got the front half of the building and it's apartments 1 to 9.
Yeah.
And we're apartment 10. So you have to go through a courtyard to a second, like, kind of part of the
Very
same
confusing.
building.
Yeah.
And there's a back door. And so they always used to get lost. And I now go down all the time just to meet them. It's easier for them. I actually get my food. But originally, they would just place it in apartment 10 in one of the other buildings.
Yeah.
And then it might disappear because someone's gone sick.
Yeah.
Or, I just couldn't get to it for some reason or whatever. And I just have to be like, don't have my food. Sorry, I need a refund.
The thing I left out was I went through 3 apartment buildings in case that happened. And I was ordering it late at night. It was like 9 o'clock, and I've got like matching Flintstones pajamas.
Yeah.
So on my top was Fred Flintstone with Yabba Dabba Doo.
Yeah.
And then I've got these like little shorts with like all the Flintstones family.
Yep.
And I went in my building, like, nah, nothing here. And I'm like, I wonder if he did next door. So in the next building next door, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, I'm unit 6, right? So I've got every unit 6, but every unit 6 is like 3 stories up.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like walking through all these units. This random dude with Crocs and Yabba Dabba Doo on his shirt went through 3 buildings. So I said to my wife, I'm like, this is going to be like I would call the cops on me. This is so bad. And
They come out like this, and you're like, yeah, fair enough.
yeah, like I don't know if I'd have the guts to confront the guy dressed that weird as well. So anyway,
Yeah.
but,
You've got my food, and you dress like that.
proper Flintstones. But yeah, that would have ended bad. Look, for people that are listening to this on Spotify, I'm also a bigger dude, so that just adds to a lot of the humor. That adds to a bit of the humor. But anyway, just a big gut coming out of a Yabba Dabba Doo
I think you're
shirt.
harsh on yourself.
Oh
there,
no, you're too kind. E-safety fines tech giants who aren't doing well enough. I think we've quite covered that. That was kind of
I think we ended up kind of covering it with the e-safety stuff, but the crux of the matter is that e-safety has found that these platforms just aren't doing enough to combat CSAM. This has come after, all the stuff on Grok. But yeah, we have kind of touched on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of an area that e-safety and, our communications minister and everything is looking at, which is great to hear. Our Australia seems to be doing a really, really good job and wants to be very proactive about CSAM material. And that's a really good thing.
And I think it's fair to say, look, if anyone wants to join in the conversation as well, you've heard our opinions. If anyone listening to this wants to give their opinion, jump on the podcast, or if you've got some thoughts, email Dan or myself. If you're getting this email, you probably have our contact details. I think you can actually just reply to the email that this comes out with, or shoot us a message, liam.garman, Garman at momentummedia.com.au, or daniel.croft at momentummedia.com.au. And if you have a theory, a thought, an opinion on how Australia can make the internet safer for people, we're all ears.
Yeah, please reach out.
We'd love to hear more from you. But I think that's all we have time for today, Dan.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've unpacked quite a lot.
Yeah, that was I think we got off track a little bit. But no, please, if you're listening, join the conversation. We're here to inform, we're here to debate, we're here to argue. And if you disagree with anything we said, I think I'm
free to say.
open-minded enough to change. I think I've actually changed my opinion on this podcast a lot.
I have as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, as much as David and I do support each other's kind of views on a lot of things, there are like my opinion on, again, the example I'll use for today, the social media ban has flip-flopped.
You were against it. You're like hardcore.
I was very against it, and then I was like, no, I get it. And now I'm kind of like, I'm a bit of a fence sitter.
Yeah. I did agree with your point. So I was super ban. I was like, the government, like, go further. You know, I was like, restrict it. Just, you know, gate everything. But your point actually about the risk of the inverse risk of bullying, right? Which is if you do have a lot of kids that are able to join, you know, a Facebook chat. I don't think people use Facebook chat anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Instagram Messenger or whatever. And you've got someone that's left out, it will be exclusionary.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're, mate, if you had an office group chat that I'm not in, I actually genuinely would not care.
Yeah,
But I'm not a teenager,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
yeah, it's completely different when you're that age.
In fact, if you added me to one, I'd probably leave. But if I say this, like if I was 16-year-old Liam, I would be devastated.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, if my friends had a chat which I wasn't in, I think a lot of people would be super devastated about that. So then there's those inverse things that you have to consider, that parents who might let their kids skirt it then might be isolating them from their friends. And I suppose no answer's right, except I think one thing that we can agree on, if there are platform providers out there that are facilitating this, slam them with a fine.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. But we'll wrap up there. Thanks so much for your time, Dan, on educating myself and our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I learn everything, learn lots on this podcast every week as well. So it's a good time.
Awesome. And that is all we have time for today on the Cyber Uncut podcast. But until next time, bye-bye.